today. Myself, I'm the senior scientist at the statewide biobank, is joined by Caesar, who's a technical officer at the biobank, and Claire Munro, who works for DevOps. So today we'll be talking about Biobanking 2.0, integrating Power Apps for enhanced operational efficiency. But before we get into all that, for those that don't know who we are, we at the statewide Biobank are a rather newer part of the organisation, established in 2017 with a partnership with the Office of Health and Medical Research, Sydney Local Health District and New South Wales Health Pathology. We're across the road from RPA in the Professor Marie Bashir Centre, and we provide biobanking services to government, industry and academic organisations, including aliquoting, blood fractionation, peripheral blood mononuclear cell isolation, nucleic acid extraction, tissue microarray production and slide scanning, storage at various temperatures, as well as retrieval of samples. But what we're going to talk about today is one of the problems that I'm sure is faced by many in the organisation. All of our training records, equipment maintenance, stock take, just to name a few, were either paper-based or on Excel. These made them really hard to maintain and analyze. So cut to a year ago, the DevOps team alerted us to some Power Apps training run by Microsoft. So this was a 2-day course, and we sent 2 of our technical officers, Caesar and Hugh, to attend the training. So these 2 technical officers had limited to no experience in this area before, can code very little to no prior experience. And even from that 2-day training, they've now deployed 11 apps that we use almost every day. And so this spans equipment maintenance, pipette maintenance, documentancy and competency sign-off, stock take, reagent tracking, and a few others on this list. But we don't have time to go through all of these today. So those in red, Caesar will talk you through.
Thanks, Beth, and hello, everyone. So just quickly, we'll go over some definitions. So what is Power Apps and Power Automate? Power Apps is a suite of apps, services, connectors, as well as a data platform that provides a rapid development environment to build custom apps for your business, or in our case, our lab needs. Power Automate, or Flows, as you'll hear me call it, is a cloud-based workflow automation platform that can automate repetitive tasks and streamline processes. So here we have the Biobank app directory. You can see a little screenshot over there on the right. It looks much like your iPhone or Android home screen. So it's a central app accessible via the team sidebar, which allows access to all other apps. Equipment maintenance, lab stock, and competency and sign-off are the most used apps in our lab. So other apps not listed in the directory can be accessed through apps listed in the directory. So for example, the fridge and freezer app launches from the equipment maintenance app. This allows the directory to contain only the most used apps by our lab and keep the interface looking clean. So here we have the equipment maintenance app, little screenshot of it there on the right. And purpose and benefits is that it provides a friendly user interface, or UI, that allows the team to check and conduct maintenance on equipment. And it's easily been adopted by all staff of all technology levels. It's a paperless way of tracking all our equipment maintenance records, as easy reporting to see what equipment has or hasn't had maintenance completed. And it's easily able to adopt Power Automate to remind the team to do equipment maintenance for BSCs, centrifuges, etc. And key features include that each equipment has its own record, its ability to report issues in the app, which copies it over to an issue log list for that specific equipment. And this allows the team to evaluate trends over time. So for example, if you're performing maintenance on a freezer and you notice pooling of water on the floor, you would go to the issue log and see that it's been a recurring issue for the past 3 months, and you would contact an engineer as this has been ongoing for long enough. So you can see what trends each unique piece of equipment has. So common or recurring issues that may need to be raised with an engineer. So here we have a video demo that Beth will pull up. So here's a home screen, the welcome screen, and then the home screen. Go into BSCs, and you can see here we have 5 BSCs in our lab, and you can go into BSC 1 and perform maintenance. So select the date as the 24th of June and start checking everything that you've done. Down the bottom, you'll see there's an ongoing issue. If you toggle that, it'll copy this into the issue log. But we're not going to save that. So we'll just exit out of it. And you can also change the status of it. So not in use if it's broken down, scheduled maintenance, or if it's decommissioned. We'll leave it as in use, and you can see the logs. So here we have all the logs of all the BSCs, and you can just check all the details of it. Going back, we go into centrifuges, it's much the same. We have a list here of all centrifuges. We'll go into Zeus, monthly, and you'll just do monthly maintenance. Same thing for annual. It's a lot more items here. Likewise, you can change the status and view the logs. This is a screen recording from my phone, by the way. So the user interface might be a bit different. Going into RoboSeps, again, much the same. You'll perform maintenance and tick these off as you go. You can see there you have freezers and fridges that'll launch a separate app. And going into the issue logs, we can see all logged issues for each equipment. And you can edit it or view it. And if you want to log a new issue, just click on that on top right. Select the equipment, so centrifuge, the relevant equipment, so Hades, and the issue. You can record details in a text field there and toggle whether you've contacted an engineer or not. Cool. Moving on, we have the LabStock app. So purpose and benefits of this app is that it streamlines inventory management, provides real-time updates, and is easily accessible for lab staff to update inventory data from anywhere. So whether you're in the lab using the computer, the iPad, or even your personal phone, it all works the same. Key features, we have categories. So all our lab stock is organized into easy to search categories specific to our lab. There's a toggle sort by function, which toggles the gallery switched between the most recently and the last updated item. This helps with actioning items not modified in a while. And there's the ability to add, modify, and delete stock directly through the user interface. We have some flows working with it as well. So there's a reorder trigger. So if the stock on hand is equal to or less than this number, it will meet the condition of the flow and be listed in the Teams chat. Likewise, a flow triggers if a stock item has not been updated or modified in 5 weeks. Show a little video demo. Just launching the app. So we'll select our category. And you can see our cryotubes here. We'll go into 0.5 mil, and you can just edit there or view it. And we'll add a new item. Call it test. And you can select the expiry date of the item as well. Unit of measurement, so box. Stock on hand 10, and the reorder trigger down there. So if the stock on hand falls below this trigger, it'll make it into a flow. And the reorder quantity is 5. So when it falls at 5, stock on hand 5, it will reorder 5 more. You can edit that. Say you forgot to upload a photo, you could just add a picture. And for this demo, I just used our logo. Tick that, and it updates pretty quickly. If you want to delete it, a little pop-up comes up saying, are you sure you want to delete it? You just press yes. Cool. So moving on, we have competency and sign-off. So the purpose and benefit of this app is that it streamlines the tracking of documents and monitors competency assessments. This ensures that all staff have acknowledged documents assigned to them specifically, improving compliance and accountability, and maintains up-to-date records of staff competencies, aiding in identifying training needs and ensuring high standard of work. So the key features of this app is that it's able to track which staff have read and acknowledged documents and who has not. We can assess and record competency levels of staff members for study-specific protocols. Competency assessors can update these levels as needed, and users can choose their competency assessors, allowing for a more tailored and accurate assessment process. So you can see there's a little button there for assessors. Their home screen's a bit different, so they can view their assessees. Just go into a little demo video. So standard operating procedures, safe work practice, and risk assessments. So going into standard operating procedures, we can see these are my items that are unacknowledged, and toggling this button here, we can see everything so that are acknowledged and that are unacknowledged. We have a search function as well. So anything that contains the word bioheart will populate there. And going back to our unacknowledged items, we can see here, view the details and click the link. Right now it's just our website, but you can edit that and say you've acknowledged it. You need to enter a date or it won't let you submit the form. So just entering a date, tick that, and it'll go away. This one's much the same, but it has a competency field to it. So if we edit that, you can see we can acknowledge it and select the date, and we can select our competency assessor, but competency and date competent are blank, so we can't change those fields. I'll just select myself as a competency assessor and submit that, and we'll come back to that later. Same thing for safe work practices. You can see here we have an SWP, click the link. This is a document that I need to read and acknowledge, and I'll get to that. But once I've done that, I can say I've acknowledged it and select the date. Very much the same with risk assessments. And going to our assessor view, we can see here, this is the one I just created. Going into edit, as an assessor, I can select the competency, say level 2, and the dates that I got this competency, and submit. That stays there. And for this example, we have Hugh as the assigned, and I'm the assessor, and we can edit that. And let's say he's level 3 now, and that change that to take competent. And if I don't want to be his assessor anymore, I can change that as well, or he can change that on his end as well. But let's just update that to Beth and hit submit, and that'll go to Beth's assessor screen. Clicking on this, we can see the quiz results, because some of our protocols have a quiz where you need to achieve a pass on a quiz to be competent. So that's just a quick way to access that. Awesome. Moving on, so integration with Power Automate. So how does Power Apps work in tandem with Power Automate? So Power Apps provides many ways to trigger flows. So we have scheduled recurrence, so running flows on a set hourly, daily, or weekly schedule. So for example, we have a scheduled flow that triggers every Monday to Friday at around 11 a.m. to remind staff to move our PBMCs from the -80 freezer to the liquid nitrogen tank. Once that's done, we can just tick it and say that's been done. There's also manual triggers, which can be triggered manually. So for example, when a new document is published, I can click a button that will send a email to everyone saying that there is a new document to be acknowledged. Here's a link, please read it. Conditional, so if a condition is met, so pipette calibration, for example, there is a date of pipette calibration, and if that date exceeds the current date, it'll trigger that condition and that flow. And connector triggers, so if using a connector like Microsoft Forms or SharePoint, that's a way to trigger flow. So right now we have a Microsoft Form trigger where if someone completes a quiz, it'll update that Excel table of quiz results automatically with their updated score if it's higher than their current score. So benefits of automation, it reminds staff to do things like sending pipettes out for calibration. I can just update the date that pipette has been calibrated and then forget about it. And then a year later, I'll get a Teams message saying this pipette is due for calibration. And I'll just find that pipette and send it out. So examples of automated workflows, we have Labstock app example. It's a trigger, it's a scheduled recurrence trigger. However, it works with the condition function as well. So I'll just show you that. So every Monday at 10:05 a.m., a scheduled flow triggers and posts a message in Teams for every item that is at or below its set reorder level. A green tick react means it has been actioned, so that more stock has been ordered. You can see there the top 4. So small nitrile long cuff gloves. And at the bottom there, we have every Monday at 11:05 a.m. All stock items that have not been modified or updated in at least 5 weeks are posted in the Teams chat. This is more important for items with a low stock count and ensures all stock items are counted at least once a month. If it is missed or unchanged, it will populate here. So future prospects and next steps for us. So we want to update our apps to make the user interface look much the same or similar. We want to finalize the apps to include more flows so we can automate more mundane tasks and tweak some of the flows to reduce spam. But currently that manual trigger flow I have sends an email for every document. So if you have 50 documents unacknowledged, if I trigger that flow manually, you'd get 50 separate emails. So just tweaking that flow to reduce spam and concatenate all the documents to acknowledge into one email, that would be much better than spamming someone's inbox. And also how the statewide QMIS will have an impact on our apps and how we can find a way to integrate or migrate the two together